And welcome back. It's always nice to talk to young people that are entrepreneurs, such as the man sitting to my right here, Mr. Jack Kay, who is the CEO, owner, and developer of what's called Tarantula Trucks. Jack, it's a pleasure to talk to you. Tell everybody what Tarantula Trucks is and what you guys do.
Okay. Tarantula Trucks is a top-mounted truck system for longboard skateboards.
Okay.
And we just make a very unique product that has just come out recently on the market. I just received my patent in February. So I've been keeping them very under the radar until I got that. And it's just a unique and different approach to skateboard trucks.
Okay. Our area here is extreme sports heaven. When you talk about skateboarding, when you talk about off-road racing, you talk about everything that exists with extreme sports. How did the idea to put a wheel on top of a skateboard come about? Because this is different. I can remember as a kid taking my sister's old skates apart, taking a piece of wood and making a skateboard out of it. And then eventually we got the old roller skates, and then those were fiberglass wheels. But this is a heck of a system. How did it come about?
Well, I rode a skateboard to and from class every day when I was in college. And all my roommates skated, my neighbors skated, and their neighbors skated. So every night we would go out and ride skateboards, and we were always talking about doing something different with skateboard trucks. We were looking for the newest and best thing, and I had been thinking about, I wonder if you could make a top-mounted skateboard truck. And I'd been kicking the idea around, and I was taking a shower one night, and the idea literally popped in my head in the shower.
Okay, what makes it better to be on top of the board than on the bottom of the board? Because, I mean, I'm old here. I can remember the bottom boards, and I wouldn't dare get on one of these now. But what makes it better to be on top of the board than on the bottom of the board?
Well, when your trucks are on the bottom of the board, you got to think you're standing on top of two pivot points.
Okay.
This, you're actually cradled underneath your two pivot points, so it makes it a much more fluid, more smooth ride. Also, it lowers the board to the ground, so it makes it easier to learn how to skate, number one, and two, just to skate in general.
Okay. Why a long board instead of a short board?
Well, obviously, the trucks are going to be in your way if you have a short board. This is a 46-inch longboard. I've got about 40 inches in between the wheels, so I don't kick these when I ride. I think on a short board they would just be too much in your way. And they're heavy. These are made out of solid steel. They're all CNC machined parts, and they're heavy duty. They're built to last, and I think if you tried to do tricks on them, it would just be too hard to get the board off the ground. I think it would just be too cumbersome on a short board.
So what is the advantage of having a long board with these Tarantula trucks on top of them?
Well, it's just an easy, fun ride. I mean, if you're doing a lot of cruising, you want to go out and have some fun, you're going to go ride 10 miles. I mean, we used to go ride for 3-4 hours at a pop. So we'd ride 12, 15 miles.
So it's easier to ride on these two than a short board?
It's easier to ride. You can actually, with longboards, use bigger wheels, polyurethane wheels, better, like longer lasting bushings. So you're not pushing as much. You push and you coast for a while, and you push and you coast. And if you want to go bomb some hills on this board will definitely let you accommodate that.
Okay, tell everybody about how fast you got up on this and what ended up happening to you, because we played the video over and over and over, and we enjoyed watching it.
Well, I was doing some testing, some trials, making a little video, and I got up to about 35 miles an hour and got the dreaded speed wobbles. And the board came out from underneath me. I tried to do the tuck and roll, and I actually ended up breaking my collarbone and my shoulder blade. And I now have a plate and 6 screws on my collarbone. But
are these safe to ride? Are they safer than a skateboard to ride? But despite the fact that you had gotten up to 35 miles an hour and you were testing, you were trying to see how fast it would go, are they safe to ride?
They are. All skateboards have an implied consent rule with them where if you get on a skateboard, you know there's a possibility that you could get hurt. So I can't sit out and say every skateboard's perfectly safe, mine are safe to ride. They are just like your standard skateboard, your longboard trucks, I should say. They're very much like them. It's just a different and unique approach to it.
Okay. How long before you actually, when you came up with the idea, got into production, got the thing made, what was that time span?
It took me about 6.5 years from paper to product.
So you were 21 then, actually, or a little older than 20, then you came up with this idea.
Yes, sir.
That is crazy.
And like I said, if I had an engineer that helped me build them. If I wouldn't have had him, I would probably still be working on them. But Matthew Lovelace, I have to throw his name out there. He's a great guy, very intelligent, did a lot of R&D for me, helped me out a lot.
Okay. If people want to purchase a pair of these trucks, how would they go about doing that, and what does it cost them?
You can go on www.tarantulatrucks.com. Right now they retail for about $99 a piece, and that's just the trucks. Like I said, I'm kind of in my infancy in my business, so we'll have decks coming soon and completes and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, definitely check out tarantulatrucks.com.
Okay, so the board, you guys call it decks now. It's not just called a board.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Wow.
Things have changed.
I guess so, because I can remember taking my sister's roller skates out, and then they came out with the Whammo one, which was red, and it had the silver skates, and then we got the old roller rink skates that were, like I said, fiberglass. These are, what, polyurethane?
Polyurethane, yes, sir.
Wow.
One thing I probably should add is on the bottom of the board, there's an X plate. A lot of people think that if they put their skateboard trucks up here, it's going to pull the bolts through.
Right.
We came up with this X plate that acts like a giant washer that keeps you from pulling your bolts to the bottom of your board. Yes, sir. And that is included with the trucks. So, yeah, you get this whole
also
package.
Keeps you from breaking the board, too, I would imagine.
Yes, sir. It adds a little bit more support to the board.
And support
yes,
to
sir.
It. Right. All right. Again, give them your website.
www.tarantulatrucks.com.
All right. If you're interested in a pair of these trucks, dial up that website because this is fascinating. It's new technology for you skateboarders out there, and I'm sure Jack would love to help you. We'll be back with more news right after this time out. Please stay with us.